Duval. We are live here. The Jacksonville Jaguars have selected Trayvon Walker with the first overall pick in the 2022 NFL draft. Of course, we've had several picks come off the board since then. The NFL's kind of keeping it moving here tonight, but obviously we're here to talk about Trayvon Walker. I'm Jordan DeLugo. With me is Jeremy Markoski. Jeremy, what do we think about the first overall pick?
Man, I don't even know where to start. You just got to hope they're right, right? You got to hope that they're right, that this is the right pick because you can't be wrong here. You took the guy that everyone says is the fast rising prospect, right? Not the guy who was seated first overall for everybody else the entire time. So you have to be right with this pick. You have to develop this guy. You have to hope he's a star. And man, I hope he is. So I'm with it. We have to be behind it now. It is what it is, but it does make you wonder, can they do it?
Yeah, and so we've talked a lot about Trayvon Walker, all these picks, obviously, but Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson came out after the pick, and they both confirmed that they're going to try to get him used to a single position, which you can obviously assume would be either the 3-4 defensive end or the 3-4 outside linebacker opposite Josh Allen's side of the ball. You would think they could deploy them next to each other, right? Trayvon Walker, the 3-4 defensive end on Josh Allen's side with Josh Allen, an outside linebacker. But either way, it looks like he's going to be asked to set the edge, obviously, to start and figure out how to develop a pass rush arsenal and a pass rush plan, which obviously he doesn't have a ton of experience rushing off the edge. But with those reps that he has shown, you didn't see a whole lot. So you're going to need to get Brenton Buckner, the Jaguars defensive line coach, the entire defense, making sure that you are fast tracking his skill set to make sure he's effective on third down. You don't want to draft a guy at one overall to just stuff the run.
Yeah, you're right. And but the main thing here is that he is versatile. I mean, they showed you clip after clip of all the different things he can do. They can move him around. He's going to be able to play multiple different positions. So, like you said, you got to hope that you can develop the pass rush moves. And while it is a big question mark, I do feel like this is the most competent coaching staff that we've had in Jacksonville in a while. And you see a lot of ex players, a lot of guys that have a lot of credibility in the league. If anybody could do it, if any coaching staff, let me clarify that specifically, if any coaching staff this team has ever had can do it, I think it's this one. Like this is the best chance for us to, I think, take this kind of prospect and make it work.
Yeah, I would agree with you. The coaching staff appears to be more competent. Obviously, just starting from the top down, right? Doug Peterson is an excellent coach. He's had a lot of success on both sides of the ball. I know he's an offensive coach, but his defenses, the guys he's hired in the past to run his defenses, he's found talent and developed talent. He hasn't been the GM and he's not the GM now, but Doug Peterson football teams have been good defensive teams, and you can say that about Trent Baalke too, dating back to his days in San Francisco. I think Trayvon Walker has everything you could possibly ask for outside of the pass rush repertoire, which is kind of what you're looking for first, right? That kind of is it's what you need when you're the first overall pick and you're a defensive end. But this is a guy that athleticism is off the charts, literally like a 100th percentile athlete, if that's even a thing. Um, the instincts are excellent. Like he's never in the wrong place at the wrong time. He's a good processor. He's really, really solid against the run. He's going to make a ton of splash plays in the backfield, along the line of scrimmage, and even down the field, chasing down runners and receivers. He can also drop back into coverage. You've seen him be effective in that role with his length and athleticism and instincts. It's difficult for quarterbacks to find throwing lanes when he's dropping back uh, into those shallow zones in the middle of the field.
Yeah, I mean he's a monster. Like just the clips they were showing, I mean, you see him just the way he was able to full extension, knock balls out of the air. I mean, you can see it, right? Like you said, the measurables. He's a freak. Everything is there. Everything you want to see in a guy. And is that enough? Is that enough? And I think for right now, this is a guy that we can all get behind. He's a guy that I think you'll learn to like. He's a guy that looks like he plays football with an intensity and a nastiness that I think this team could use and this defense could use. It could spark up, a nice little juice run for all these guys. We could have Josh Allen start to go off, just inject some energy into a unit and, just see where it can take you.
I will say, to rush the passer, you have to stop the run.
Yeah.
And he's going to help you do that 100%. And I think he's going to even be able to make immediately, not just make the good play, the safe play in the running game. He's going to be able to make splash plays in the backfield and along the line of scrimmage.
That is a huge point to make. Like you said, if the team can stop the run, force himself into good, pass rushing situations, you're obviously going to be more successful. And the Jaguars just did not do that all that year to begin with. So, again, adding to that unit in any way, just like I said, is just adding another spark, right, to catch fire. This team has a good young core, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And yeah, we need some offensive power. And I know we're going to hope it comes here either later tonight or early tomorrow, but this is a good step to at least shore up one side of the ball and at least give you guys some playmakers. Give these guys some playmakers to work with. Give Brenson Buckner some playmakers to work with. Just see what you can do.
Yeah. And honestly, I mean, if you look at that defensive line group, even if you don't see Trayvon Walker as an immediate impact pass rusher, that is a defensive line that can stop the run and get after the passer with the skill set that they have, with the depth that they have. Because Josh Allen can do both. I would say Roy Robertson Harris can do both. I would say that Arden Key and DeJuan Smoot are going to be good rotational rushers to fill in. And you look at the rest of the depth on the interior of the defensive line with Malcolm Brown, Devon Hamilton, J. Tufele. They've got a ton of guys up front.
They do. They have a ton of guys, but it's right now it's quantity over quality, right? I don't think they have a lot of quality in their depth right now. They could get there again with hopefully some good coaching this year, and you have guys that have a lot of promise. It could be a very deep unit. We got to see what Arden Key can do. Can this new coaching staff finally maybe unlock something out of Caleb Von Chason? You never know, and that just adds more names to the list, more guys that can get you pressure, make plays for you, and that's always a good thing. But again, these are all what ifs. These are all what ifs, and that's why this makes this pick so important because you cannot fail here. You cannot fail. Everyone at that building right now, their jobs, everything is depending on this pick. They have to get it right.
Yeah, and I've said it before. I don't think there's any world in which Trayvon Walker is a bust from a football standpoint. I could see from a perception standpoint, if he doesn't end up being a 10 sack guy per year, people are going to be unhappy. But like I said, I think he will be able to come in and make an immediate impact as a edge setter, as a dropper, and as someone who can just kind of make plays all over the field. Is he going to be a 10 sack guy in his year one? No, I don't believe so. I do think Aiden Hutchinson probably gave you a little bit more in that department, especially if you're not planning on using these guys all over the defensive line. As the Jaguars have said, they're going to kind of ease Trayvon Walker in to his role. So again, I would not have picked Trayvon Walker, but I'm not going to sit here and say that he can't pan out. I think he will pan out to a certain extent. I don't know if he's ever going to live up to the number one pick, but he is going to make a positive impact. The Jaguars just got better, but in the NFL, this is an arms race. If you're getting better, but you're taking one step, other teams are taking two steps, you're not keeping up. And
Yeah.
we'll see if the Jaguars are able to develop him into a pass rusher. They're going to have to for this pick to work out.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Most definitely. This is a number one overall pick. You've got to add to the most important stat that this, position brings you, and that is the sack right here in the NFL.
Pressures and
So
sacks.
pressures and sacks, man, and you've got to get them. So I would said, I said it the other day. I thought the pick should be Hutchinson as well, just because what he can bring you immediately, and just he is that polished guy. But I can see where Trayvon Walker can be effective, where he can improve, and you know, look, I hope it happens just like the rest of us. But it's a risk. It's a huge, 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 huge risk. And as you see some of these other picks shake out, and you see some of these other guys, you know, you just kind of think, did they make the right choice? I still would have loved a tackle first overall, I was always on the Evan Neal train at number 1 overall. I mean, to see him fall all the way to 7, I mean, that's insane. And if you would have told me last year, if we were sitting right here, and you'd have told me that Thibodeau was going to be 5, we would have said you were crazy. So, man, just things change, and hopefully they caught on to
Yeah.
something that the rest of the league did not.
The Giants got both of those guys. Brian
Yeah,
Daboll stays winning. He goes from Buffalo, where he's working with Josh Allen, all that talent on offense and on defense, really. Obviously, he wasn't the head coach there. He was the offensive coordinator. But now he's getting Kayvon Thibodeau and Evan Neal, who are arguably two of the top 3 players in this class. I mean, I would argue that they are. I think Evan Neal is my top prospect, and Kayvon Thibodeau is 1A or 1B when it comes to the edge rushers.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, all of these guys, though, all of these guys have something different. They all can bring, you know, something different to these teams. The guy I like the most right here is Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, I think him landing back in Detroit just sets a nice narrative. It gives him a lot of energy playing back home, and you love to see that kind of stuff, that kind of story. And the Jags are going to have to compare that for the rest of their careers, and he has to end up being better. Um, Quality prospects, I mean, I guess at the end of it, the Jaguars, like I said, they did get better, and that's all we could ask for. So, really excited to see how the rest of this night plays out. I hope they start, making some movement, start, making some plays here
Is
later.
that all you can ask for? Is it?
Well, there's a lot we could ask for, one step at
Yeah.
a time, maybe, but
So,
trying to see the good in it at least, trying to at least be positive about it a little
uh,
bit. We all got to,
he's going to make the Jaguars better
yeah,
right now.
100%.
He's gonna help them get to 3rd and long. I have no question about that. But especially in a class like this with so many talented edge rushers, he's going to be compared to all of them. It's
Mhm.
not just Aiden Hutchinson and Kayvon Thibodeau. You've got Jermaine Johnson. You've got Arnold Ebiketie. You've got Boye Mafe. You've got George Karlaftis. You've got so many guys even beyond that. And so to take Trayvon Walker at 1 overall when you could have protected Trevor Lawrence or added an offensive weapon for Trevor Lawrence, um, or even taken Kyle Hamilton, who is going to be a difference maker at the next level. All these guys, Trayvon Walker is going to have to not necessarily outproduce and be better than them, but he has to be in the same ballpark as them.
Nah, he's got to be better. He has to be better. You have to be number 1 overall pick worthy, or at least right there neck and neck. There is no
Right.
same ballpark. You got to set the benchmark, right? If other guys are meeting that benchmark, and I mean we have 3 just perennial pass rushing superstars in the league for years to come, that's okay. But like you said, Trayvon Walker has to be in that ballpark, but he's got to be leading that race as well.
Yeah, I don't know if I would expect that, especially early on, again, from a pass rush standpoint. But um, this is what it is at this point. And did you hear about Trayvon Walker getting in a car accident a couple weeks ago?
No,
Yeah, so that was
I didn't
just
know at all.
reported. The Jaguars knew about it, so that's good. Obviously, he did not suffer any injuries. It was in Athens. He apparently ran into
Ooh,
2 parked cars, but kind of wild. As Garrett Wilson goes off the board to the New York Jets, who obviously won't be trading the 10th overall pick for Debo Samuel now.
that would have been a tough deal to make. Night of the draft without a deal in place. I mean, I get it, but another super explosive guy. I mean, I know he's very high on a lot of people's draft boards. I'm surprised Jake London went at 8 to the Falcons, to be completely honest with you. I did not think he was going to be the first receiver off the board. I really did not. So,
I'm not surprised at all. If Jamison Williams was healthy, he would have been the first receiver. I
hmm,
have no doubt about that. But Drake London, I think, is going to be a superstar. And if the Jaguars were going to take a receiver at 1 because of Jamison Williams' injury, I would have given it to Drake London. I honestly think he's going to have a major impact. And you talk about trying to cover Drake London and Kyle Pitts. Good luck.
yeah, I mean, they got 2 studs, or at least, hope to be studs, replacing, that gap that Julio left. Um, they've had great receivers in Atlanta for a while. Will Calvin Ridley come back? We'll see. But yeah, he's obviously a just freak. I mean, the catch rates on that guy is absolutely insane. Big body, but can he get off the ball? Can he get off the jam? And can he outrun NFL defenders? I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, I think he'll be able to. And his quickness is what really separates him as a big bodied guy. It's not the long speed, it's his ability to separate quickly on those cuts and the little basketball move. He's a basketball player, right? And you can see it with his crossovers, the way he runs routes, the way he boxes out. And so the Falcons have a tandem there that's very scary. Um, Someone says, "Not often that I can say I really wish we drafted as well as the New York Giants." That's
Dude,
true.
that's honestly after I saw. So right when they were getting up there at 5, I was thinking, okay, you take Neal here. That was my first thought. You take the tackle here and then force Carolina to make a decision, and you have your choice of a rusher. And I thought that was exactly what they were going to do. I'm surprised they took Thibodeau first, but I understand it. But to see them get both of those guys, I mean, they are drafting absolutely phenomenally. That is, I think, the best. I mean, obviously, pair of picks because it's been the first pair of picks team so far. But I mean, that's better than the Jets right now, personally, in my opinion. I think the Giants got way better.
Yeah, and I love the Jets picks too, though.
Yeah.
Sauce Gardner,
Were you
Garrett
surprised to see the
Wilson.
corners
Y
gone that early?
Yeah,
'Cause I was
and,
surprised.
I'm not surprised because I do think Sauce is up there with the best players in this class, but, um, to see to see them get that wide receiver that they wanted for Zach Wilson, surround him with the type of talent on offense that maybe the Jaguars haven't quite done, to be completely honest. Um, they're always going to be compared to when you look at Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence. When you look at how the Jaguars surround him with talent versus how the Jets surround Zach Wilson with talent.
Yeah, I mean, you said it best, and nothing hurt more than that Zach Wilson touchdown run last year, right? So, I mean, the comparisons are always going to be there. The Jaguars have to finally take that step, right? They have to take that step this year, And so, where do we go now? Where do we go from here? We made our first pick, right? Moving forward on the defense, what do we do now? What's the next step?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's interesting. This was the type of pick that is going to be heavily scrutinized. You don't go with the consensus top guys, which would be Aiden Hutchinson, Evan Neal. Um, I think even Ikem Ekwonu was consensus wise a little higher on most people's boards than Trayvon Walker. I do believe Trayvon Walker was a better pick than Ikem Ekwonu would have been personally at number one overall. I think Ekwonu, while his ceiling is unbelievable, and he's staying at home in Charlotte, which is good for him, obviously. But his ceiling is unbelievable. His high level reps are dominant, physical, borderline assault on these defenders, right? But his hands and feet are inconsistent. You'll see him absolutely dominate someone with technical refinement one play, and then just look like he lost focus the next play, several more plays. He's an odd prospect to me, and it's not like he hasn't had the experience or the time to get to a better place in pass protection and in his consistency and run blocking. So I do think Trayvon Walker, if you're comparing Walker and Ekwonu, who both are kind of looked at as those high ceiling guys by the national media, I would rather have Walker.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And I said I like Icky as a guard. I really
Yeah.
do. I love him as a guard. He is a big, like I said, big mauler. Obviously, his inconsistencies in pass protection, want me to lean keeping him inside. But, Carolina, they drafted him to play tackle. He's not going to play guard. He's going to play tackle. So, I mean, we will see. If that's who you're going to take at number one overall, again, that is a risk also. But I think the
Wee
ability
woo.
to,
The
what we got,
Saints
are
traded the
trading.
number 16 picks plus number 98 and 120 to the Commanders for number 11.
Okay. Let's see what's going on
So the
here.
Saints had already been active trading with the Eagles earlier in the offseason. Now they're getting more aggressive. What are they doing?
Oh, man.
Are
Well,
they trading up for a quarterback? I mean,
I mean, no,
I
you
doubt
re-signed
it at this
Jameis,
point. It
right?
doesn't seem like that should be the play. I wouldn't personally trade up for one of these quarterbacks, but who knows? I think the Saints think they're still in a window, And they are still in a window. They have a lot of talented defensive players. They have talent on offensive side of the ball. Who are they trading up for here? Has Charles Cross come off the board yet?
Jermaine Johnson, maybe? Kyle Hamilton's still there. I don't know if I would trade up for Charles Cross.
Oh, I would. If I was him, because I think Charles Cross can be Teron
Oh, he
Armstead.
did. He was Seattle
Oh, he
for
did.
sure.
Okay. At number 9.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. Seattle 9. I don't know.
Okay. So what are we looking at? I really don't know who they're trading up for. Oh, Chris Olave. Good for them.
Yeah.
They added another talented receiver. He is a route running extraordinaire, super fast. Again, excellent route running, great ball tracking deep down the field. This is a guy that is going to help their offense immediately.
So what was the whole swap? It was
16, I lost it.
Commanders. Okay, trading back from number 11 for 16 and 19. No, would they
No,
have 16 and no
no.
19? Why can I not find the whole? I'm trying to find it. Hold on. Hmm. I will
16,
find it.
98, 120. So you've got a first, a third, and a fourth for
Okay.
number 11 overall.
Okay.
5
Okay.
spots. I mean, I think that's a fair trade for both teams probably.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have done that if I was the Saints, to be completely honest, with a lot of wide receivers still on the board, but they obviously targeted Chris Olave. They wanted him, and they brought him in.
And I haven't seen that yet. The Lions are now on the clock. I must be very behind. So the Lions are traded to 12. We are
Let's see
watching this
here.
live. This is uh-oh. What are
I'm
you
not
seeing?
sure.
Seeing Rappaport 60 seconds ago about now. The Lions are now on the clock. A big trade.
Yeah. I'm not sure what's going on here.
Are they trading up for a quarterback?
I think the Lions are on the clock because the Saints took Olave. So the Lions are on the clock at
But 12 is
12.
Minnesota.
There was a trade.
Yep, 12 is Minnesota. So I'm trying to figure
Minnesota
that out.
traded out.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out how behind I am on my stream here.
I'm just following on Twitter right now, to be completely honest
Yep,
with you.
I'm trying to keep on top too.
But so as these guys come off the board, we're going to be continuing to monitor the Jaguars' top positions of need, which we have, I believe, we both agree: wide receiver, interior offensive line, linebacker, and safety.
Yeah, I mean,
Think you could throw tight end in there long term,
yeah,
obviously.
I think I would rank tight end above safety personally for me right now. Safety is definitely a need. I wouldn't shy away from the need of running back either. I know we're not talking about right now.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm prioritizing wide receiver and offensive line. That's still what I'm prioritizing. If I'm going to make a move, I would make it in about the 20s. Give yourself an opportunity to pick from the best, whether it be you want a wide receiver or you want an offensive lineman or whatever it is you want, at least jump back into the first round to give yourself a chance to have multiple options. I feel like if you either wait till day 2 or try to trade back up too late into the first, you may miss out on a run of guys, and you want to give yourself a good chance at landing whoever it is you want or giving yourself multiple options.
I agree. I don't think you need 12 rookie draft picks. I really don't. Um, so I'm with you. I think you go up, you get your guy. I don't know if the Jaguars will be comfortable doing that, but we're going to find out. The draft is rolling along here. We haven't gotten a
There
chance to
is
talk about together Cam Robinson extension, Josh Allen with the 5th-year option picked up. What do we think about these moves?
Yeah, the Cam Robinson extension was definitely a surprise. I did not expect that before the
I'm
draft,
not
but
sure why you think that was a surprise, honestly. They've been talking about it all year.
yeah, I know. But I think we all kind of felt like things weren't that close. I mean, I don't think it was a surprise earlier in the year to think that things weren't going to mellow over with Cam Robinson. You know, I think we both were kind of on track earlier with saying that, like, I didn't know if they were going to get a deal done. I
I
didn't know
didn't
if Cam
know, but they had
Robinson.
talked about wanting to, so
Yeah,
it shouldn't come
but
as a shock.
not a shock that they were trying to get a deal done, but a shock that they got one done. I just didn't have faith in them to get it done, and so I'm glad that they did. It is a 3-year deal. As long as it comes with some flexibility, right? If you were still going to take Evan Neal at number 1 overall, which they did not, obviously, the Cam Robinson would have had to have been okay with moving maybe to right tackle if he wasn't the best tackle on the team. I don't know if he would do that or not, but it looks like they paid him to be the left tackle each for the next 3 years. So,
Yeah.
they're confident in him. You did make a point. He has gotten better every year. I do see Cam Robinson, he has room to improve, right? We've known he's played. You say his best football this year. I've seen him play good football. I think he has the potential to play even better football. And if they can get that out of him, still relatively young, it'll be a good signing.
Yeah, and it's just so tough. You don't want to completely write off what these players have done to this point in their career, but they have been in crappy situations. Bottom line, especially in 2021. And for Cam Robinson to play some of his best ball, have his best stretch of games in 2021, going through what that team went through with the coaching staff with Urban Meyer, I think that's impressive because you saw a lot of other guys on this team kind of fall off and not play their best ball. And Cam Robinson, he was not perfect. He had stretches, he had games like the Colts abused him earlier in the year, but he had long stretches of high level play.
Right. And I mean, you can obviously identify and understand that he has room to improve while still realizing that the sack numbers were still low because Trevor was very good in the pocket, right?
Yeah.
Trevor still avoided a lot of sacks. That sack number probably would have been a lot bigger with another guy back there. So,
Yeah, and it still wasn't great. I think they were 24th in sacks allowed and a lot higher in terms of pressures allowed. The Lions traded up for Jamison Williams.
oh man,
These
my
wide receivers are coming off the board.
my ESPN keeps going out. I gotta switch my streams here.
So Drake London, Chris Olave, Jamison Williams, and Garrett Wilson are all off the board. The Eagles have moved up to number 13.
The
I
Eagles
think
just
they're
jumped up
they're
too.
trading up for a receiver probably as well.
Oh my! So
Maybe.
this
I
is where
mean,
I start the George Pickens chant. Go ahead and now, if this isn't a wide receiver, you got to make your move. Take some picks. Take 33. Let's go. Get back up in there. Do what you got to do. The receivers are going. You have to make a move here.
yeah. And so that they're traded that pick with the Texans to get up to 13. So the Texans are going to get more draft capital. Probably a good move for a team that really needs a lot of talent all the way around.
The Texans are making moves left and right. I mean, if the Jaguars don't hurry up, and get into the game, they're going to get left in the dust, man.
Yeah.
We got to start doing something. But, I'm not panicking yet. Not
I
panicking
wouldn't
yet, but
panic at all,
I
honestly.
am
I think
surprised that
there are
these
enough
receivers go so.
receivers
Yeah.
where and again, who knows if they even want a receiver this early in the draft. They might be targeting them a little bit later. Trent Baalke, I think they would like to add an offensive lineman at some point. Baalke talked about how he does not believe the interior offensive line class is deep. There's some good guys at the top. Maybe they're hoping Tyler Linderbaum falls down the board. Maybe they're hoping a Kenyon Green or Zion Johnson is available late in the first to move up for. I wouldn't be shocked if they took Trey McBride in the second round.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be okay with that as well. But again, I would want to see them move back up into the second round, right? Are you going to take Trey McBride at 33?
I
Probably
would.
not.
I would, but
It
I
depends on how the
understand
board shakes out.
if you don't wanna do that, I understand, certainly, but
So
I
I don't
think
think
he's
you
worth
can
that pick.
eliminate that option. I do agree with you 100%, right? I'm on track with what you're identifying as needs and where we have to move, but you don't have to eliminate one thought, with the other. And so that's just what I want them to do. Like, be creative, right? Start doing things that, nobody thought you would. Make some different moves.
Yeah, and then also linebacker, I think, is gonna be a hot button position potentially for the Jaguars. When you look at if Quay Walker falls out of the first
Yep.
round, he's a guy that most people had as a day 2 pick, uh, going into the last couple weeks, and then Doug Kyed comes out last week from PFF talking about, um talking about Quay Walker, if he doesn't go in the first round, the Jaguars could probably nab him up at 33. I think that's a little rich, especially when you look at who might be on the board there. Um, but yeah, we've got John on here saying he thinks that they'll do a trade in round 4 range. I agree that they're more likely to trade up later on because it costs less. And that's the bottom line. It's easier to move up later on in the draft. But I would not be shocked at anything at this point. The Jaguars went and got their defensive end. They kind of bucked conventional wisdom with Trayvon Walker with that pick. They're doing things their own way. They march to the beat of their own drum, for better or for worse. Of course, over the last decade, it's been mostly for worse.
Yeah.
Um, Trent Baalke is going to do what he sees fit. He's not going to listen to the outside noise, clearly, with that selection of Trayvon Walker. And so I would not be shocked if he values Treylon Burks or George Pickens or whoever to see him move up.
Yeah, there's definitely still guys out there. Just definitely want to make sure you get one, right? But like you said, if they really love a linebacker, especially at 33, if these wide receivers start to go in bunches, a linebacker or somebody else that was, on your board a lot higher than 33, they're going to make their way down to 33.
Mm-hmm.
So you could still see a really high prospect, N'Kobe Dean, Quay Walker. Who knows? We have no idea what's still going to happen. A crazy thing could happen. Jordan Davis make his way all the way down. You never know. That's obviously, a big what if, but you never know how things are
No
going to shake
way.
out, right? As the
No
Eagles,
way,
what you
Jordan
got?
Davis. You know who I wouldn't be shocked by either is Alex Thorpe in the chat. We moving up? Let's hope so. I think Jeremy and I are both on board with that, just based on the idea that you need to get your guys, you need to get elite talents, you need to help Trevor Lawrence, you need to maximize the next 2 to 3 years of his rookie deal. If you
Yeah.
do not make significant progress from a talent perspective, from a wins perspective, just from being a more competitive football team this year, you're going to go into year 3 thinking that this is a make or break year for Trevor Lawrence, and you do not want that.
Yeah, most definitely. And the money's going to come with it, right? If you want Trevor to be around here for a long time, you're going to have to pay him a lot of money. So strike while the iron's hot, right? While you have the chance to have some flexibility with the cap, to get some of these guys in here, lock down long term as well, put young stars around him on the defense, on the offense. That realistically, that window is the next 3 years, right? You don't want to have to wait till his fifth year to get an extension done. So you've got about 2 to 3 years right here to really make a statement and really change the course of the franchise.
Yeah, and when you talk about trading back up into the first round, that gives you a fifth-year option for that player. If you are really into this guy, you want to be able to have that fifth year that is pretty much cost controlled to an extent that you can lock them up for half a decade after you draft them. The Jaguars just locked up Josh Allen for his 2023 fifth year option today. He's going to be him and Trayvon Walker need to be that tag team that makes it really difficult for opposing offenses to get anything going. Um, I think the Jaguars are paying him a little over 11 million per year, or excuse me, not per year, but in 2023, that's what his price tag is going to be. So when you look at that compared to what you would have to pay him on an extension, I mean, if he has another good season, he's going to be looking at well above 15 million per year if he hits free agency.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
And I
And
mean, if he blows up the way he could, the way his talent dictates he could, I mean, he could be flirting with high teens or even higher per
yeah,
year.
I mean, lock him up. Commit to a guy who's homegrown. Commit to a guy you drafted. Commit to a guy who has shown no drama. No ill will towards the city. Has always wanted to be here. Has given it his all. But again, like I said, you've got to see him become what he's meant to be. And Trayvon Walker obviously is going to help him do that. Or at least you hope he's going to help him do that. And you would hope that's part of the reason why they brought him in, right? To help them as a unit and helping the defense as a unit helps Josh Allen. You want to have these guys here for a long time. Build something lasting.
Yeah, and if Trayvon Walker does struggle early to just produce pressure on his own, one thing he can do is eat up blocks,
Yeah,
and that
absolutely.
helps everyone.
I mean, you saw how physical he was. Like there's no hiding it. A guy who makes that kind of contact, he shows up on tape, right? You don't miss him. You see that guy, and that guy provides a spark. That guy ignites a defense. That's a ball player. That guy brings something different. It's not always about the X's and O's. He has the measurables. Yeah, he's got to get the stats. We've got to improve some things, but he's still got such a high ceiling. You have such high hopes for this kid. He could really be a staple of the Jaguars. Another again young piece to this puzzle, believe in what he could do, and we'll worry about obviously, you know, what he can't, if it happens. And obviously it'll be tough, but you got to have faith in the kid now, right? You can't just go into it having doubts. They've got to have faith in him. They've got to put him in a good position to succeed and put the right guys around him.
Oh, yeah, the coaching staff, the front office, everybody in that building, they need to gas this guy up.
Yeah.
They need to give him the confidence and not just gas him up unwarranted, right? But like give him the tools, help him. Brinson Buckner needs to be his best friend. Josh Allen needs to be his best friend, right? These
Yeah.
guys need to get Trayvon Walker up to speed and help him develop a pass rush arsenal that he currently is lacking. Um, Alex Thorpe says he'd be okay with moving up for Pickens. Shout out to Alex. That's one of my good buddies. He says no risk offering some back end picks to move up, especially with wide receivers going like hotcakes. I agree. Now, okay, George Pickens or Jahan Dotson, who would you value more?
Who George Pickens. I think he's got it, man. I really do. And I know the knee injury is a thing, but he's shown that he still is a dynamic playmaker, right? We
Hmm.
saw it this year, and we continue to see it. And I don't think you can pass up on a guy like that. Jahan Dotson, again, another great wide receiver in this draft, but I think George Pickens has a little more than he does. I like it. He brings a certain nastiness as well. A feisty receiver, big body, explosive, fast. Great hands. I mean, what more could you ask for?
Yeah, Jahan Dotson, he plays bigger than he is. But the bottom line is he's 5'11, a buck 80.
Yeah,
Like he plays bigger than he is. Guess what? George Pickens is bigger. He's 6'3". He has a huge catch radius. He has great ball skills at the point, at the catch point. He separates with sharp, twitchy movements. He's an underrated route runner, in my opinion. I think George Pickens, you know, I've heard some things about his attitude maybe being an issue. I don't know anything about that. I've heard about it. I don't know personally. I do know his teammates have stood up for him. He's a guy that, doesn't have any issues going on the sideline from what I've seen
yeah, I
with
haven't
his
seen anything either.
teammates. I think, that's up to the Jaguars to decide, does he fit your culture?
Yeah.
And that's up for Balky and Peterson. If he fits the culture, he certainly fits the offense from a skill set, from a need perspective. The Jaguars need a big wide receiver that Trevor Lawrence can just toss the ball up to. John, we've got saying he has a Ramsey attitude. I wouldn't disagree with that in between the hash marks. I mean, this guy, you want to talk about somebody who's going to help your running game. He will blow defensive backs up. I
Yeah.
mean, unbelievable.
And yeah, a wide receiver who loves the block. I mean, that just brings another asset to the table. Coaches love that. It brings an energy, right, to the whole offense. And, you talk about culture, right? You believe in his culture. You believe in him as a person. Well, I hope you believe in the culture, of his locker room, right? Because he played at Georgia, right?
The
Trayvon
Ravens
Walker
got Kyle
also played at
Hamilton,
Georgia. Did they really? I'm still looking at Philadelphia at 13 here. Am I
Jordan
that far behind,
Davis.
or are you still looking at is it Jordan Davis?
Yeah, they traded up for Jordan Davis. The Ravens took Kyle
Oh, the
Hamilton at
Eagles.
14.
Yep.
I've been sitting here doing these mock
Jeez.
drafts all year, and every time I get to the Ravens and it's like, man, this defender would be so interesting to them. I did not think Kyle Hamilton would fall all the way to 14. They just got that might be the steal of the draft.
I mean,
I'm calling it right now.
he's a freak athlete. He can do it all. He can absolutely do it all. He was one of the best players, I think, in this draft. I think we all kind of thought that as well. But obviously, where does safety fall on your premium board? It just is what it is, right? Wide receiver is a premium position. We saw those guys go off early. The run started. But Kyle Hamilton is still an absolute animal. I think he's going to be a stud, right? Guys like Derwin James can change the game from the safety position. Kyle Hamilton could be one of those guys. He could be a game changer from the safety position.
Yeah, and he can do so much. He can line up in the box. He's a great tackler. He's 6'4" and
Yeah,
220 pounds. And so he can play in the box all day. He's a physical tackler and he's so instinctive. People talk about, oh, well, he didn't test very well. Watch the tape and tell me he's slow.
yeah,
There's he he might not be the greatest athlete in the world just from a pure athleticism perspective, but with his length, his size, and his instincts, he gets where he needs to go.
absolutely. And it just think about, just think about what he brings to the table. And okay, we said who are the Ravens picking now? Sorry, hold on.
The Ravens took Hamilton.
Hamilton? That's right. Okay, why am I so
Yeah.
far behind? I was like, I thought they moved up again. Oh my goodness. But he reminds me a lot of a guy like Isaiah Simmons, right? Out of Arizona now. But Isaiah Simmons again was one of those guys, just a freak athlete. Like they talked about him playing safety, right?
Yeah.
When he was coming out as well. And so you mentioned how he can come down to the box. Again, he can do it all. And I just think you're seeing those kind of athletes, become a game changer on defense. They play a different position, right? The safety position in and of itself has evolved. Guys like, you know, um, who else? Keanu Neal has done in the past, right? Played that middle kind of downhill safety, hybrid kind of linebacker position.
Yeah,
Isaiah
you've seen
Simmons as
plenty of guys
well.
that came in as safeties that have
Yeah.
shifted to linebacker now.
And I mean, and like you said, his size, everything that he can do, he can fly around the field, he can make tackles. I mean, he's everything.
Yeah. That's a great pick, and I think the Eagles got a good one too. Obviously, you have the questions about Jordan Davis's stamina,
Hmm.
his ability to play a full game, really. But when he is on the field and he has energy, he's going to be a difference maker. Bottom line, and a huge difference maker. You talk about Trayvon Walker being a freak athlete. Jordan Davis might be the best athlete at least at defensive tackle that we've ever seen.
Yeah. And I mean, they're showing it here. He does have some inconsistent effort plays, and that's something that they'll have to work with him on. Conditioning is going to have to be a thing. He's going to have to improve on stuff like that. But when you talk about what you think Trayvon Walker can bring to the table in regards to stopping the run as well, Jordan Davis does it. And he does it from the inside. And he does it way better currently. I mean, he just eats up
Oh, I
gaps. He
disagree.
eats up blockers. You think so? From the
Yeah, I
inside?
think Trayvon Walker no, not from the
Not,
inside.
I said
I'm saying
from the
just in
inside.
general, who's a more impactful run defender, I think Trayvon Walker is right now
Right, I said it, but
on
I
a
said
consistent
specifically
basis.
from the inside, Jordan
Oh,
Davis does it
sure.
way better. But I'm saying what I was getting to is that you can make that pick at 13, right? That's a safe, good, impactful pick at 13.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
So
Um, I didn't I wouldn't make that pick right there. I think there's guys that are gonna give you more consistent play, but when you look at Jordan Davis, and again, he has crazy upside. If you
yeah,
can get him to have um, better stamina to be able to play with full effort on more downs than Georgia was able to, sky's the limit for Jordan Davis.
yeah, most definitely. You can just hope that he doesn't become, another one of those guys who had size concerns and stuff like that. Don't want to see that happen with this guy again. So wherever he goes, they're gonna have to make sure that they put him in a really good position to succeed. And Jordan Davis has all the talent in the world. And as long as you can keep him, in shape and able to play and get on the field, right, he's going to make an impact.
Mhm. Now the Texans pick is in. I have not seen who it is yet. Let's see if we can find out. They drafted Derek Stingley at number 3 overall, trying to slow down Trevor Lawrence in this offense. I don't think that was a bad decision.
No, no, not at all.
Oh, and then they get Kenyon Green at 15. He's one of my favorite players in this draft
Wow.
class. He can play
Wow.
interior offensive line. I think he can play tackle for you in a pinch. I wouldn't blame them for trying to get him to play right tackle, but I don't think that's what they'll do because they have Laramie Tunsil and Titus Howard, who Titus Howard should shift back out to tackle. Put Kenyon Green at one of those guard spots and prosper.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, absolutely. I mean, he's an absolute mauler. And, again, another good pick for a really good interior offensive lineman. This is great pick value, I think. And like I said, he could just be a game changer as well. A guy like Icky, with the ability that he has just physically to be a more dominant player, right? You could see why he went higher. But these interior offensive linemen, again, this is a really good time to take these kind of guys. I mean, Quentin Williams, or Quentin Nelson, excuse me, kind of went around here as well. I mean, you can find really good interior offensive line talent. Who's coming up next here?
So the Commanders are on the clock
Yep.
at number 16 after their trade back with
Just about halfway through. I feel like we are moving tonight.
yeah, it's going well. I'm happy about it. I think we're going to be live for about 15 more minutes till about 10 o'clock. So at number 33, the Jaguars hold the cards. Will they trade up? Will they sit at 33? And if they do sit at 33, they're in an advantageous situation because if you hold the top pick on day 2 of the draft, that is a very attractive potential trade up opportunity for other teams. The Jaguars could potentially get a nice little haul for the 33rd overall pick. Again, you and I have both talked about not really seeing the value in trading out because you have so many draft picks already. But if you were able to somehow land a second round pick or another third round pick, could I see that being a smart decision? Yes, I could.
Yeah, exactly. The only way I trade back from 33 is, like I said, with 2 second round picks. Now, depends on where they're at. If I can still stay relatively close, I think within at least 33 to 45 ish, maybe, I would be enticed by that. But I still think that they could look to move that one up, use that as a package to move up. But, like you said, somebody's going to fall. Somebody's going to fall. And if a team has a lot of interest in a guy that had a first round grade that got down to 33, the Jaguars have all the leverage. And if they still hold that pick come tomorrow, I think they're going to be very active shopping it. I really do.
Yeah, Trent Baalke even talked about it, potentially doing that. But I'm really thinking there's going to be guys on the board at 33 that are too attractive to pass up on,
Yeah.
to be completely honest with you. And depending on how far you move back, like all those guys that you like at 33, they might be gone the next time you pick.
But will the numbers play in your favor? Can you, right? Depending on who falls, can you possibly still move back if the trade is right and still land a guy that you identified, right? Depending on who falls and who teams are trying to jump up for. What if there's a quarterback there at 33?
Yeah.
What if quarterbacks continue to
Yeah, it's
fall?
possible.
Yeah.
So, as of right now, the guys that are still on the board who I think could fall to the second round, Tyler Linderbaum, he is a Jason Kelsey clone pretty much. Not exactly the same prospect as Jason Kelsey was, but when you talk about a guy, Jason Kelsey, who had some incredible years under Doug Peterson in that Doug Peterson offense in a zone rushing attack, which the Jaguars are going to employ. Tyler Linderbaum's going to come in and be a very similar player to Jason Kelsey and be a fantastic center in the NFL for a zone rushing offense.
Yeah, absolutely. And just the familiarity with the offense, the familiarity with the system, to bring in a guy who, you know, could get the best out of a guy like Linderbaum, with Doug Peterson and what he did with Kelsey. I mean, that just adds a whole nother level and a whole nother dimension to your offensive line. Shatley is a guy who's serviceable, right? We've seen what he can do, but I think just this would take your offensive line to a whole nother level. It really would raise it. I mean, you would still probably address left guard probably later in the draft to at least continue to create some competition between Ben Barch and whoever you decide to put there with him. But I just think it takes your offensive line again, like I said, to another level. And the Jaguars should build that wall around Trevor Lawrence. We still think that's very important, right? That hasn't gone away yet. You still got to make those moves, put those guys in the right places, and protect Trevor Lawrence.
Now, what do you think that the Jaguars think their biggest need is right now?
I mean, I would hope, and I would think it would be receiver, right? I think that's where they think their glaring need is, right? They obviously got their edge guy. They signed Cam Robinson. They put money there. Do they think their offensive line is that horrible? I don't think so. So I think now you've got to identify a weapon, right? If weapon would have obviously been at least the top three. Well, he didn't look too happy there. Kenyon Green does not look happy to be in Houston. Wide
That's
receiver.
unfortunate.
Have you seen that? Oh, he did
No.
not look happy. He looks very unhappy. Pretty sure he's shaking his head no. Ooh, that was
Ooh,
not a good
I just
look.
got the Vito Stellino quote tweet. I kind of broke down what Trayvon Walker does right now. Vito says he also is very fast running around cones. That's a fact.
This is true. That I honestly lost my entire train of thought seeing that. Oh, wide receiver. We all identified wide receiver as one of the top 3 needs. I think edge was in there as well. And I think at this point, I think it would edge out tackle with the money they put into Cam Robinson. So it's got to be wide receiver. I think that's what it is.
I think they think their biggest need is linebacker.
They do love their
Um,
linebackers. We've heard it.
well, you look at interior offensive line. Tyler Shatley, ton of experience. You feel okay with him. Ben
Mhm.
Barch, he started 12 games in the first 2 years of his career. He has some experience. Wide receiver, you have Christian Kirk, you have Marvin Jones, you have Zay Jones, who you signed. All of those guys have experience. At linebacker, next to Foye Oluokun, all you have is Shaquille Quarterman. And I'm a fan of Shaquille Quarterman. He's a hometown kid. He's really got a great demeanor about him, great energy. I think he can be a serviceable player in this league, a serviceable linebacker. Doesn't have great athleticism and does not have experience.
Yeah, and you do have a glaring hole after losing Miles Jack, so I can see that as well. And obviously we haven't seen any interior linebackers come off the board yet, right? So again, guys are continuing to inch further down the board. And if that guy makes his way to you, I would not be upset any way, shape, or form if they took a linebacker, right? Go get another guy to bolster the defense. If the value is there and a guy that you thought was a high first round pick falls, you have to make that pick, right? We would argue that a million times.
Yeah.
So I mean it's a no brainer. Just don't be stupid. Just make the pick.
Yeah. And so the 3 linebackers they brought in for pre-draft visits were Quay Walker out of Georgia, who a lot of people are saying is going to be a first-round pick now. We'll see how that plays out the rest of this evening. Um, Also, Chad Muma out of Wyoming. And, what do we got in that glass there?
It's just some green tea, just some green
Oh, right.
tea. Yeah, yeah,
Got to keep it healthy. I love it. Okay. So, yeah, Chad Muma, Quay Walker, and Christian Harris out of Alabama. Do you have a preference between those guys?
Honestly, I don't. I've seen a lot of good from all of those guys.
Hmm.
I did not inspect them as much, to be completely honest with you, during the process, but I didn't see anything, remotely negative. I think they're all very good interior defensive linemen. We've seen what Christian Harris can do against elite talent, but I think they really like Quay Walker. We've seen his name a lot. I still am surprised that Nakobe Dean, his name is kind of not being tossed around, and I still really like Nakobe Dean. So there's plenty of options for them.
Yeah, and Devin Lloyd too.
Yeah, and Devin Wood as well.
If he,
But these
I
guys
just
can also be
can't
there at
imagine him
33,
falling out of the first round.
and you talk about Chad Muma. I know you like Chad Muma as well. There are options everywhere right now.
Yeah,
But what's better for you? Or, do you want to get that elite guy, ahead of 33, or would you settle for Chad Muma late?
well,
Would
I
you have to
think,
move up for a guy like that?
I
Quay
think,
Walker,
uh,
Kobe Dean.
I think if you want any of those guys, and you want to guarantee that you're going to get them, you need to take them at 33. If you feel that desperate to go get your linebacker and you really love those guys, I think 33 or a trade up back into the second. Because I think if it doesn't look like Quay Walker's even going to make it out of the first round, I think Chad Muma is certainly going to be a second round pick. I think Christian Harris is borderline second,
Yeah,
third round.
I would agree.
So maybe he could be the one because of where he falls to. Um, and he has all the athleticism in the world. Uh, I just think he's a little raw still. Um, and coverage when it comes to tackling, he just needs to become a professional. And if he does that, he could be an elite linebacker in the NFL. He has all the physical tools. He has good length and range, but he is, out of all those guys, he's my least favorite. Still very talented.
Yeah, yeah. What about a guy like you mentioned Trey McBride earlier? Do you think? And I want to go back to that because you mentioned that you liked him at 33. Do you think that he brings better value than maybe the linebackers? Would you rather have Trey McBride there at 33 over the linebackers? Because we need a wide receiver. We talked about it. If it doesn't fall right, he's still a pass catcher. Does he jump your interest in linebackers if he's there at 33?
Yeah, it's about team building, right? So you have Evan Ingram, you
Yeah,
have Dan Arnold, you have Chris Manhertz. All of them are on expiring contracts. So the tight end position isn't an immediate need for 2022, but in 2023, it absolutely is based on the contracts that you currently have. Um, but the bottom line is linebacker. You don't have anyone with any experience, even
yeah,
for 2022, besides Foye Oluokun. So for me, if I was having to pick between Chad Muma and Trey McBride at 33, because if I was going to take a linebacker and Devin Lloyd's off the board and Nakobe Dean's off the board, I would be taking Chad Muma over Quay Walker, over Christian Harris, over even like Leo Chenal. Some people have in that range as well, out of Wisconsin.
Oh, listen to this. Okay, hold on, slow down. Jahan Dotson went to the Washington Commanders. Even
Wow.
Rappaport tweets the Eagles are trading for Titans wide receiver A.J. Brown. Tennessee gets the number 18 pick and more.
Oh wow. 18 and
Oh,
101.
oh my.
So that's bottom of the third
Oh
round.
my.
You know,
Oh
not sad to see AJ Brown leave the
my.
division.
No, not at all. But what would the price tag have been for an intra-divisional trade? One could only imagine.
It's just
Oh my. Wow. That
that's
is
just never gonna happen. I mean,
Dude,
the
how did that get
Jaguars and
done on
Titans
draft
have
night?
traded.
How did that get done on draft night?
Yeah.
How did he doesn't have an extension in place? He wants an extension. I mean, I guess he's
I'm
on the last
assuming they
year.
had some sort of
He's not on the last year, right? This is an expiring year for him, is it? It's not expiring this year.
yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
expiring?
He's on the last year of his contract. All those 2019 guys are. Unless they were first round picks, which none of the good
Right,
receivers from 2019 were.
right. You're correct.
Outside of
You're correct. But okay, so
I
even
don't
worse
know.
than you don't have any leverage. You have no leverage in making that deal. But I mean,
Yeah.
it's a blockbuster move. Get Jalen Hurts some weapons, man. Get fired up over
So
there in Philadelphia.
Sean, our guy from Big Cat Chat Podcast, who he's a good Twitter follow, Trill Will 92. I interact with him a ton on Twitter. He says Christian Kirk deal has now paid for itself. Bulky masterclass. Get AJ Brown out of town.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah. I
I
mean,
don't disagree with it there.
look, that is maybe one of the seismic shifts that has occurred. And if it is, then I'll take it. Yeah, you're right.
Wow. No
Zion
more
Johnson
worrying
going
about
away.
AJ Brown. But what are the Titans going to do at 18?
I mean, you
Oh,
gotta
Zion
go.
Johnson just came off the
Yep,
board to the Chargers.
Chargers.
That's a great pick.
Yep.
Great pick.
Who's even left for wide receivers? Traylon Burks. I mean,
I bet you
maybe.
the Chargers are surprised Zion's available considering Kenyon Green went. Most I
I
think
would agree as well.
most scouts probably have Zion Johnson ahead of Kenyon Green. He's a better tester. I think he has guard center flexibility, whereas Kenyon Green has guard tackle flexibility. But Zion, I think you could argue was just a better overall prospect than Kenyon Green. I have them right in the same range. I have Green a little higher. I think he's just more physically imposing, and he has the outside versatility versus the inside versatility. I think is a little more valuable, but I would not argue about Zion Johnson being the best guard in this class.
The only thing I can keep my mind on right now is that I am nervous. The only wide receivers remaining currently are Christian Watson, Sky Moore, George Pickens, right?
Dude,
I
I
mean,
could see them taking Christian
we
Watson.
we are slim. What I'm saying is we are get. Yeah, I'm thinking about it too. Would it be Christian Watson? I'm not super high on Christian Watson. I don't want Christian Watson. I'd love for them to take Christian Watson, but you made me realize slim pickings now in the wide receiver market. So it's
Yeah,
tough.
Watson at this point to me would be a value late second, which he's not going to make it to that point, it looks like.
Yeah. Not at all. Not at all with the way things are continuing. I'm excited to see the rest of this. I can't wait to see what happens. I'm not going to bed early tonight, I'll tell you that.
That's for sure. It's 10:01 now, so we'll wrap up right after the Titans pick. How about that?
Let's get it, man. I'm excited to see. This is an intra-division pick here.
Yeah, so really appreciate everybody for tuning in. This is Duval Daily. This is Generation Jaguar. I'm Jordan DeLugo, Jeremy Markoski. You can check out all our work at genjag.com, and you can follow Jeremy on Twitter at Jeremy Markoski, myself at Jordan DeLugo, and Generation Jaguar at Generation Jag. Of course, if you enjoy our content, which I'm sure you do, John says it right here, hit the like button. Hit the like and subscribe button, please. It really helps out the show, helps out our work, and helps more people find it. So we're really appreciative of everyone who's tuned in, everyone who listens to the podcast, everyone who supports. So we really appreciate you, Duval.
Absolutely, man. This has been an absolute blast here. The pick is in. I love how they always put that up there right in the middle of commercial. Like we're obviously not going to
The
go to the
Jaguars
pick here,
special.
but
Couldn't
do you
do it
think?
to us the last 2 years.
What are you thinking?
What am I thinking?
What are you thinking here? What do we got?
I think they're going to take a receiver.
Who's the pick here? If it's a receiver, who's the pick? It's got to be George Pickens, you think, right? Over Christian Watson? Treylon Burks?
It should
maybe?
be, or it could be Burks. I mean, Burks, a natural comp for Burks is AJ Brown.
Yeah.
I think Brown was a little more refined, but I think Burks is a little more freaky of a size, athleticism. He has incredible hands. I mean, people kind of forget that when they talk about him. They talk about him as kind of a project, as a offensive weapon. You can say that, but his ball skills are second to none in this class. Treylon Burks.
Oh yeah, and I think is he a little bit bigger than AJ Brown?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay,
he's
so
6'2",
AJ Brown is
6'3", but he's like
okay.
230 pounds.
Yeah, he's a big frame. Talked about earlier, right? Big body, and
He's a little bit bigger version of Laviska Shenault in terms of the size.
a little bit.
Well, Visca's 6'1", 220.
Yeah, that's like 6 foot. But yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, I do. He does. He's a little bit bigger. He's
I
not a
think
tiny
they're reasonable comps to each other based on their usage in college, based on their skill sets. I know that doesn't sound like a good comp right now, but Visca is a guy who really struggled in 2021. Prior to that, he had never had a bad season of football in his life.
Yeah,
I'm willing to give Visca the benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely, right? You're not going to give up on a guy like Visca, but at the same time, right? If you have faith in him, you've got that kind of guy there. So if that's what you think the comp is, I'd hate for them to, double up on that talent. We've got a lot of, we think slot guys. We still need that, true X type receiver. I still think Treylon Burks is more of an outside guy. I saw a lot of him going up and getting the ball this year. Down there in Arkansas, and again, big time receiver. I think he can high point a ball really well. He can go up and get a ball. He can play big.
Yeah. A lot of people, I think, have just overthought him a bit. And it takes projection when you talk about him being a legitimate X receiver because of the limited route tree.
Right.
But
can you win at the line of scrimmage, right? With your hands too. Because again, not the fastest guy, right? It's gonna take physicality, right? If you're gonna be a big body receiver, you gotta be physical, gotta be able to win at the line of scrimmage. So, it's another question that we have with Drake London as well. And another question that we'll have,
See, with Drake
Treylon
London,
Burks.
I don't have that question because of the
You think he's
quickness.
quicker? Yeah, he is, and he is, but he's still a big guy, right? That's still a big target. It's a lot of space. It's
and
a
he's
big chest to
6'5",
jam.
220. Like, it's a little different.
He is a lot bigger. I'll give you that. Yeah.
I love Drake London, man.
I mean, yeah. I didn't think it was gonna be their first receiver off the board, but I'm also not super surprised either. He definitely was one of them. Mike Vrabel, just give him somebody to wrestle with. Look at him.
Oh, I'm seeing Trayvon Walker on the fan cam. He looked pretty excited. Oh, Treylon Burks.
Oh, there it is.
AJ Brown replacement.
There it is.
There it is.
Wow.
That's
wow.
That's smart. Okay, so the Titans basically just got, if you believe in Treylon Burks, which I do, they just got their AJ Brown replacement, who might end up being better than AJ Brown. and they got an extra pick out of it, and they got a cost-controlled contract.
Yeah, you got a guy who's not on an expiring deal, guy you don't have to give money to.
So is
You
this a Trent Baalke masterclass with the Christian Kirk thing? I don't know.
look, man.
Now that you're looking at that, the Titans might have just gotten better and
Yeah,
cheaper.
smart they made that deal. Smart they made that move. Good move for Tennessee, but again, big if. You know what AJ Brown can do. You know what AJ Brown
Absolutely.
can be. Excuse me. And obviously, you hope you can get the best out of Treylon Burks, but again, it's still an unproved guy in the league, but can't deny the talent. Can't deny
Yeah.
what's there. Great move by Tennessee. Cost effective. Still get a weapon. I mean,
Yeah, and I can just imagine the play action shots to him down the field.
yeah, still
You get the
unpolished
defense
stuff.
sucked in with Derrick Henry, get Burks deep down the field, he's gonna go up and get it.
Yeah. Like
And
you
he
said, still a little bit of an unpolished receiver, still a little bit of an unpolished receiver, but he can be that guy.
yeah, and the fact that he can outrun everybody on the field, I know he didn't run the crazy 40 that some people expected, including myself, but he doesn't get caught from behind.
Yeah. His game speed is better than his 40 time. He's one of the few guys you can look at the tape and say his game speed is better than his 40 time.
Yeah, it's really impressive.
Mhm.
All right, so the Jaguars at this time have the 33rd overall pick, the first pick of day 2. They could certainly trade back up into the first round if they so choose here. There's still 12, 13 picks left. If not, they'll have control of day 2 of the draft, and they also have picks 65 and 70 in the third round.
Yeah. Time to make some moves. Can't wait to see what happens.
Yep, and then control of day 3 as well with the top pick in the fourth round. So
Yep.
they've got a lot of ammunition, uh, a lot of power to kind of use the board and play the board how they want to. We're going to see how it goes. Again, they took Trayvon Walker with the first overall pick, defensive end out of Georgia. He's going to come in. He's going to be a run stuffer off the rip, and they're going to try to get him to develop that pass rush.
Yeah. Excited to see what can happen, man. Excited to see where we can go. Again, it's got to be the right pick. You got to hope you can get it done. This pick is going to determine a lot of things moving forward. So excited to see what they can do. Hope these coaches can bring the best out of this guy. And I just hope that he is a stud, man. Let's make an impact here.
Oh my gosh, yeah, has Jermaine Johnson not come off the board?
Not yet. Not yet.
Wow.
So I'm excited to see
I'd
how the rest
trade
of his
up
night
for him
shake.
and just have a three-headed monster at edge.
Hey, man, I was slightly dumb
I'm
enough
dead
thinking about it earlier. I
serious.
was like, like, what if, would you have this is a thought that ran through my head, and I was like, nah, I'm not gonna say it. Not gonna look stupid on the stream. Is there any world in which the Jaguars take another edge at 33 if the right guy falls? I don't think
It
Jermaine
would be
Johnson's gonna get
interesting
there.
just because of
But
Arden
would that
Key
just
and
be
DeJuan Smoot, right? But
yeah, if you got like,
both
4
of
or
those
5
guys are on
guys.
one-year deals.
Yeah, true as well. If you can never have too many pass rushers. The Jaguars have never had that luxury before. That would be well, who are we talking about? That's another not a chance, right? Not a chance.
What'd you say?
There's not a chance it's actually gonna happen though, right? Not a chance.
Probably
So
not. I don't think so, but we'll see. John says double down for sure. I wouldn't blame him. So that's going to do it, though. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. It really does mean a lot. Again, please hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Check out genjag.com for all the latest Jaguars news and analysis. Enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy the rest of the draft, Duval. We will be back at you with some more content in the morning. Have a good night.